Hello guys, I'm back from another video, and today we're talking about what if deku was in Genshin Impact, or reincarnated into Genshin Impact to be more precise. So, in the last video we talked about how, after some guards noticed that a few, members of, let's just say Miss, what's her face? Yeah, Miss, Kujisara would arrive at the, mansion of the Kamisato clan. And after basically telling them their business there, the guards would basically tell them that, Mr. Izuku is not there. And so they would basically be beaten to the ground as they would basically storm into the, into the estate. As Izuku and also, Lamine would basically hear the smash, Toma would basically told them to basically get out of there because, Kamisato, not Kamisato, I meant, the Kamisato, mansion is basically being raided by, Kujosara's, minions. And by proxy, Raiden Shogun's, Raiden Shogun's, proxy or whatever. You basically get it. So, these guards would basically come in as Ayaka would basically try and distract them, saying that they're not here, blah blah blah, things of that sort. As for Toma and also, for Izuku, Izuku, Lumine, and also Paimon, they would start to leave going into a little passageway as they would start to leave going outside. Toma would basically explain that he's actually, friends with the, rebellion. And apparently, he's going to be bringing them there. But before he can, he has to contact them, so he has to, bring them to a little cave. After bringing them into the cave, Izuku would start to, create some barriers to make it look like, it's just a simple ravine. So after doing that, they would start to hear the sounds of howling, as when they looked behind them, they would see a few rift hounds looking towards them. They seem to be Electro, to be more precise, the Electro element, and they seem to be charging towards Bell. Not Bell, I meant Izuku. As Izuku would basically see this, he would decide to try and use, a brand new element of his, specifically Electro. And after using the, Electro element, it would create a electric, Susanoo arm and ribcage. Yeah. So, as he uses it, it would basically, destroy some of the area. Basically, just like destroying half of it. As all of the, all of the Rift Hounds were basically destroyed thanks to, the teamwork of both, Izuku and Lumine. And so after destroying them, they would look over and they would hear the sound of footsteps as they would start to hide. And they would see a few, rebellion, members, or at least, the ones that are basically, in the rebellion, aka the rebels or whatever. And, Toma, as Toma would basically, tell them that they should get out now. And it's finally time for them to start to leave. So, meanwhile with, Ayaka is still distracting them as, let's just say, Kujisara is pretty much tired of this, and so would basically tell them that they should probably leave now. After all, it's pretty much a waste of time here now. And so, they would start to leave, and Ayaka was pretty relieved. So, back with Izuku, Lumine, Paimon, and Toma. After arriving at, the base, they would see a few old men, and after explaining the reason why almost all of them are basically old men, or at least some of them, is because, apparently the weapons that were, being sold were from the Fatui, and apparently, in exchange of the power of those specific weapons, well, it literally ages them. So, unfortunately, they're now pretty much old, or at least some of them. And one of the guards would basically bring them towards, their leader, or at least semi-leaders. Specifically, Mr., what's his face? Yeah, Mr. Goro, and also, Miss Kokomi. So after bringing them to a large building and, trying to open the door, but unfortunately his back was basically broken. As a few more, younger guards, maybe about in their, late 20s, would basically bring him back, to a little area so he could rest up his back. After opening the, doors, they would see, both Kokome and also Goro, and after introducing themselves, they would basically, be told that they're going to be sleeping in a little, area. And after that, both of them would basically go inside, basically unpacking all of their things, and so they would fall asleep. But before we actually ended off that episode, we go to, a certain angry, Scaramouche and a pretty much smug ass, Senora. After Senora was basically, teasing him about how he lost and things of that sort, he would basically storm off. As for, La Senora, she would basically, she would basically ask herself that she's going to be, taking Izuku for himself after, Raiden, aka the Raiden Shogun, captures him. And she would basically swoop in and basically bring him to, Shazanaya so she can basically marry him. And before we basically ended off the episode, right before that, she would basically call him by another name. Instead of calling him Izuku, instead, she would call him Rostam. And you probably know why. Because, in La Senora's lore, this is actually a bit of a spoiler. Apparently, she's a part of Conria, aka, the old country, the one that basically betrayed, sort of betrayed, Celestia. And because of that, her love, or at least her future, husband, or at least used to be future husband, Rostam, was killed during the, the Great Collapse, or at least I think that's the name of that thing. And because of that, she sort of became, depressed and decided to become enemies of the gods, and so decided to join the Fatui Arbingers. So yeah, so we basically ended off the episode at that note. And so, let's talk about what happens next. As Izuku would, wake up, he would see, Lamine would also wake up as well. As she would say, "Morning, Izuku." As Izuku would say this. "Oh, morning." As he would say, as he would see, Lumine, kind of looks a bit, how do I say this? Just imagine this type of image. Yeah, just imagine her just like this, even though I'm probably gonna be banned off YouTube just because of this image alone. Please, YouTube, please don't get the wrong idea. It's obviously innocent. Trust me, it won't be that sexual. Anyway. So, as Izuku would see her, he would say, "Huh, you actually look kinda cute when you're awake like that." She would say, "Yeah, I guess so." She would start to stretch, as, Izuku would say this. "Hey, want to get breakfast?" She would say, "Sure." She would start to, get up, she would start to change. Izuku would also change, as, just imagine them actually changing while they're looking at each other. Yeah, it's to the point, like, they seriously have that, kind of that type of relationship where they, that they, sort of like change in the same room as each other, and even look at each other's bodies. Yeah, that's basically that type of relationship now. So, as he's basically changing in front of, Lamine would say this. "Hey, Izuku?" As Izuku would say this. Yeah, I should say, "Can you, at least, move away a little, kind of? Because I don't want you to see, as Izuku would say this. Sure, but try not to look at mine either. I should say, deal." So, as Izuku's, changing his clothes and also, taking off his old, boxers, I guess you could say, as he would start to change into, much more cleaner ones. As he's basically finishing up, changing, he would say, "Hey, Lumine, are you done?" I should say, "Yeah, I'm done." As after looking back, you would see Lumine wearing, just imagine her just her regular clothing, as her hair is basically done all fancy-like, as you would say, "Anyway, we should probably start to eat." I should say, "Yeah, but how about Paimon?" As you would look over, as you'd see, Paimon just like drooling on her pillow as she's going like, "Honey roasted horse." She would basically start saying, as she's like chewing on the pillow. As, Izuku would just say, "Yeah, she's just probably fine, just leave her there for now." I should say, "Yeah, I guess so." And so they would basically get out of their room and would start to go towards, the outside world. As they look outside, they would see a few members of the, rebellion just like eating some food, mostly provided by Toma, and he would also see a few new faces. One was a girl that seems to be wearing some traditional, Japanese style clothing, but also seems to be wearing wielding a bow and also some sort of, firework arrows. But the more noticeable part is, she stopped wearing, one of her sleeves and because of that, it's showing a bit of her, basanga songs, and they were not really, that, big. Like, they were pretty big, like super massive hodonkodongs. Just imagine them as tsunamis. Oh, god damn it. Just imagine, them as like Tsunade size. Yeah. Wait for a second. Oh, so, as Izuku would look over and see another brand new person. In this case, a girl that almost seems to resemble a ninja? Sort of. She's about like, 8-ish in his mind. She seems to be, wielding some sort of tail, which, well, after looking a little bit, closer, it seems to be, not really part of her body, but instead, more like a design choice than anything else. Wait for a second, god dang it. So, after, looking at them, Izuku would basically, with Lumine, they would go closer to, the buffet, and they would start to eat. As while they were eating, they would decide to, sit right next to, Kokome, not Kokome, yeah, Kokome, and also Garo, with the rest of the other people there. Specifically, the blonde-haired girl, which, Izuku's starting to get a little bit of vibes from Bakugo, which he's not really concerned about. I mean, he literally, how do I say this? Oh yeah, he sort of, forgave him for everything that he's done. I mean, he did some horrible stuff himself, so I guess that cancels out. So, after, arriving at their place, they would basically, sit down as they would start to eat, as Kokomi would say this. Good morning, Izuku. So, are you perhaps okay? As you'd say this. Well, pretty much fine. So, who are these guys? As the girl with the blonde hair would say this. Oh, nice to meet you. The name's, Yomiya. And this is my friend over here. Her name is Sayu. As Sayu would say this. My name is Sayu. Nice to meet you, she would say. As he would say this. Oh, hello there. And are you perhaps a Tanuki? As after saying this, she would say, I am not a Tanuki, she would basically say, with a pout on her face. As Izuku would think, yeah, she's kinda cute. As he would say, don't worry, I don't think that you're a Tanuki. I mean, you're kinda look cute, he would say. She would just look at him with a pout. As Yoimiya would basically start to laugh. As he would say this. Anyway, so, is there anything else that we should do? I mean, we're just eating for now. As she would say this. Well, we're planning on going to a little area of ours. Or more specifically, a little area so we can stop the production of a certain group of individuals. She would say, as you would say this, let me guess, the Fatui. As she would say this. How could you tell? As you'd say, just a hunch, she would basically say out loud. As everybody would just look at him. As, wait for a second. As Lumine would say this. Yeah, we sort of run in with several, and I mean several Fatui agents a long time ago. Even back in Mondstadt. As one of them would say this. Wait, really? As Izuku would say this. Yeah, let's just say one of them beat our asses so hard that we sort of became a new person. As one of them would say this. I see, said Goro. As one of them would say this. Really, then, as you would say this. Yeah, apparently there was this girl named, La Senora, and let's just say I don't really like her. As, Lumine would say this. Yeah, for obvious reasons, she would basically cross her arms, as one of them would say this. Well, if you don't mind me asking, said Yoimiya, why exactly do you hate her? As Lumine would start spouting out that she was basically trying to steal her boyfriend, aka, Izuku, and saying that she was, obviously flirting with him, blah blah blah. And let's just say everybody was just like looking at Izuku as he would say this. Yeah, I don't really like her either. As all of them would just look back at Lumine, where she's furiously, just like, blah blah blah, bullshit, blah blah blah, that bitch, blah blah blah. Yeah. So, what the fuck was that? Never mind, that was actually just the sound of, what the fuck? It's just my, classmate, not really classmate, more like, my cousin just like, watching some weird ass videos. Either way, going back into the video, as Izuku's, walking and, basically finishing eating, he would say, anyways, I'm leaving now. Hey, are you finished, Lumine? As she would say, yeah, pretty much. As she would say this, specifically Kokomi. Oh, okay, so, because you're finished, you, Yoimiya, Lumine, and also Sayu are gonna be going to wait for a second, are going to go to the factory, or more specifically, the factory that's currently being used by the Fatui. As you would say this. Sure, so, as she would say this, yes. I want you to stop the production of those weapons, at all costs. At all costs. As Izuku would say this. Will do, Miss Kokomi, he would say. As she would say this. Good. Now, you. As she would basically look back at Lumine, as she would say this. Stop them, okay? As, she would say, right. And so, they would start to leave. So, as they left, they would start running on a little, cart. As Yoimiya would start a conversation while they were going towards the factory. Hey, how did you know each other, and how did you actually got together? As Sayu's currently, sleeping on, on one of the seats there. As he would say this. Well, back in Mondstadt, I actually, wanted to go and see my old friend, what's her face? Yeah, Amber. As she would say this. Oh, then, as he would say this. Well, it turns out, Amber, another girl by the name of, what's her face? Another girl by the name of Noelle? Yeah, Noelle. And also Lumine sort of liked me, so we decided to, that, or at least, they decided that they're gonna be sharing me, so, as she would say this. Oh, so you're in that type of relationship. Huh. I didn't know that the famous, Izuku of 1,000 Elements was a big, pervert, as you would say this. No, it's nothing like that, I swear. Like she's just my childhood friend or something, as he would basically start to stutter and would basically stop at that point, as he would say, whatever. He would basically look good, just like look down, as she would say this. Don't worry, I don't think of you as a pervert. Besides, I think that's quite the cute love story. As Izuku would say this. Yeah, cute. He would basically say, under my breath, under his breath, as you'd say under his breath. Well, until you learn about how I actually gone, into a relationship with a few, girls in, Liyue. As she would somewhat hear that, as you'd say, what did you say? As Izuku would say this. Oh, nothing. He would basically laugh it off, as she would say this. Anyway, we should be here right about as they would arrive at the cliffside. Sorry about that, wait for a fucking second. As they would arrive at a little area of, where the, factory currently is. They're basically waiting at a cliffside, as everybody would basically get off, including Sayu, which she's still pretty much sleepy. As, Izuku would say this. Hey, Sayu. As Sayu would say this. Yes. As Izuku would say this. Because you're a ninja, try and get there, silently. As she would say this. Will do, she would say, as she would start to run off, by basically going on, onto like a rolling pose, as she would start, running off, or rolling off, like Sonic the Hedgehog, which, when seeing this, he would say, well, that's an interesting way of using, using her vision, he would basically say out loud, as she would say this. Yeah, pretty much, she would say, specifically, Yoimiya, as Lumine would say this. Yeah, I never seen that before, as Izuku would say this. Yeah. as they would look over and see the large factory filled with several Fatui agents. Currently, we go to Sayu's perspective. Sayu is currently sneaking around, which, I mean, she's a bit completely clumsy, but somehow, in the name of goddamn God, is like, how is she not caught? Like, how the hell she's not even caught yet? I'm guessing God is on her side in this case. Anyway, so, as she's basically stealthily just like going through the entire area, basically, not being noticed by anybody, as she would arrive at the, I guess you could say the factory, manufacturing line. As she would basically look over and see a few, I guess you'd say robots are currently being made. These Fatui agents are currently making these weird-looking robots that seem to be infused with several of the elements, like for example, electro, cryo, and also, pyro. And a few other Fatui agents would be there. Specifically ones with guns, and others with, simple ass, bludgeoning bludgeoning weapons, like for example the hammer guys, and also ones that seem to be wielding staffs, like the Geo one, which, by the way, all of the goddamn Fatui agents look awesome. I can't tell, I can't even, say that. Like, seriously, all of them look super badass, and some of them just look sexy, looking at you, mirror. Oh god damn! I would let her step on me. Anyway, going back to the actual video. So, as Sayu would see this, she would basically get back to, to the group, as she would make it there safely and report everything to them. So, after being told of this, they would start to leave, going into the, into the Fatui base. So, as they're basically trying to sneak in, the certain, Yoimiya would accidentally activate one of her, fireworks. And it would create a large explosion, destroying a part of the, a huge and large crate filled with, and I mean filled with to the brim with several vials of blackish liquid. As after seeing this, you would say, what in the hell is that? As several of the guards, or at least, the Fatui agents would start to run away, as, some of the others would also start to run away, including some members of the Fatui agency, specifically like the Hammer guys and, Sisson Mages, or at least I think those are the pronunciation of the name. If you, know the actual pronunciation, just comment down below. So, after seeing this, he would basically decide to just go in. And before we actually, continue with the episode, well, I sort of wanted to change the idea for, Izuku's, sacred gear for the high school DxD or whatever. So, I'm still keeping the, idea that he's able to, gain the abilities of a ghoul. Wait for a second. That he's still able to use, all for Kagane from a ghoul, from Tokyo Ghoul. But, the original idea for his sacred gear was Jack the Ripper. I mean, it was pretty obvious by the Jack the Ripper title, and also, the whole, London's famous serial killer vibe. Because, at the time, I thought it was a really great idea. I mean, it makes sense. After all, Jack the Ripper literally mutilates all of his, mutilates all of his enemies. So, yeah, that's why he decided to make it as, his brand new, I guess you could say, yeah, basically his, I guess you could say, I actually wanted that specifically, sacred gear to be, I guess you could say, a 14 Long Inus. And if you don't know, the 13 Long Inus are basically, superpower weapons. Like, for example, the sacred gear of, Issei, aka, boosted gear, aka the pervert over there, which, by the way, I'm gonna be changing him into a girl. You can't tell me otherwise. anyway, continuing with the video, sort of. I mean, anyway, so I want all of you guys to basically think of think in the comments or comment me down below, about an idea for, a sacred gear for, Izuku for that specific what if. So, comment down below, and if I pick, one of your guys is, comments or specifically ideas for a sacred gear, well, I'm going to shout you out. If you have a channel, I can just shout you out, or, you, like, maybe in the next, what if making, or the, next what ifs I'm going to be making, the commenter with the coolest, sacred gear idea, I'm going to be doing your idea for the what if, or a what if. And, by the way, the guy who asked for making, making, what if Remiru from that time I got reincarnated as a slime, as the son of, Hades, I'm not doing that. I'm not really interested in making a what if about, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Because, I mean, it's kind of a good idea, but I'm not really interested in that anime anymore. Maybe until, like, Season 3 comes up, because, I can't wait for Season 3, because after, reading up on the light novel a little bit, well, oh boy, I'm pretty interested in that. So, going back to the actual video, as the entire area explodes, causing all of the inhabitants, more specifically the Fatui Harbingers, or at least, the Fatui, agents to start to leave and run away in fear. After seeing this, Izuku would say this: so we should probably start to go inside, as all of them would agree. So, as they would basically go inside, they would see several of the robots basically broken. These robots almost resemble, how do I say this? Yeah, they basically resemble the Ruined Guardians. Or at least the Ruined Guard from, from Mondstadt, or at least someone from Mondstadt. But either way, they basically look the same. So, as everybody's just, like, looking at them, he would say, great, why they had to be modeled after those things? As, Lumine would say, Izuku? As Izuku would say this, what? As you would look over, as you would see a large gas attack would basically, be appearing out of nowhere, as it causes everybody to basically go down on the floor. As everybody would start to cough, including Izuku. Izuku would start feeling immense pain and suffering from this, as a person would basically come out of the smoke, or in this case, the purplish gas, as you would say this. Oh, it seems that Izuku, the master of all elements, and Lumine of the Golden Blade, seem to have been fallen just because of this stupid gas. As you would basically say, well, I mean, it makes sense, after all. It is the malicious content of all of those gods that were slain during the Archon War. By the way, you may call me Scaramouche. How pathetic. He would basically say, as you would basically kick, Sayu, and would look over to, Lumine, as she would basically, as he would basically grab her by the face and pull her away, and basically kicking her in the face. As when Izuku sees this, he would start to become a little bit pissed. As he would basically say this: oh, are you sad that your girlfriend got hurt? Pathetic. He would basically say, as he would basically get ready to punch, as he would basically punch Izuku right in the face. After doing this, Izuku would say this: why, you... As he would say this: oh, come on! Don't be mad! Besides, I'm just doing you a little favor. Besides, you're nothing more than scum in my eyes. Weaklings, he would say. And he would also say this: you believing those pathetic Archons? What a joke. Those Archons are nothing more than liars. And in fact, nothing more than pretenders. In fact, more like Celestia's actual one to blame. She's the one that caused all of those problems. Just because she believes that all of these pathetic things that us humans could never achieve should not be done. How pathetic. Now, before you get, before you get your girlfriend lost, or I meant, before your girlfriend gets killed, might say something to me, as Izuku's eyes would start to flare up. His eye would start to glow, a menacing aura, as he would say this. You bastard. As he would say this. What did you say? You would just look over to him, as he would say, You bastard! As his eyes would start to become a little bit red, as another arm would basically appear. But not the electro arm that resembles, a Sasano arm. But instead, another ribcage, but except it's, the purplish ribcage made of the electro, energy. It's basically the left arm and left ribcage. But this time, this one is colored red like fire. And it seems to be the right ribcage. And it also seems to be wielding a shield. More specifically, the shield of Totsuka, or at least a similar mirror type thing. But instead of basically reflecting any type of like jutsu, or in this case, ability, or at least any elemental ability, well, instead, it literally shoots out tons and tons of black fire. Or at least somewhat black fire. I mean, it's just basically like darkish red fire. As the ribcage would basically appear, he would say, Now, burn! He would say, screaming out, as the large Susanoo arm would basically shoot out a blast from its, from the shield, causing the, fire to basically, disappear and disintegrate. Almost like, I don't know what is that actual, chemical called, but it's basically this gas when, when in contact with, fire, would basically start to disappear. As, when Scaramouche sees this, he would basically jump out of the way, and would get his clothes burned off in the process, as he would say this. Quite strong, but, unfortunately next time you won't be so, easily, winning. Either way, see ya, he would say, as he would disappear back into the gas. As, after using the pyro element, which is now emblazoned into his, vision, which now is completely now filled with every single element in the entire, game. Electro, pyro, hydro, dendro, cryo, animo, and finally Chiro. So, because of this, he literally has every single element. So, basically, he's the equivalent of the Avatar. So, after, doing all of that, he would say, So, are you guys okay? As one of them would say this. Specifically, Yoimiya. Did you use the pyro element now? You're basically able... She was just, confused. As you could say this. It seems so. As he would basically start to create a little fire from his hand. But, when he extends his hand, instead, it would summon out the ribcage and the hand, or at least the Sano-like hand, as it would basically create a little fireball with its, shield. As he would say this. I guess it only creates a, I'm guessing it's only able to, create a, fireball from its only, arm, or at least skeletal-like arm, he would say, as she would say this. I see, anyway, we should probably start to leave, as Izuku would say this. Yeah, I agreed. So, as Izuku would start to leave with, Lumine in his, arms, specifically in a bridal style, a bridal-like style of, carrying, she would say, Thank you for saving me, Izuku. As Izuku would say this. No problem. After all, I am your boyfriend. As she would say this. Yeah. She would basically say, as she would basically leaning closer to Izuku. So, after they left, they would basically go back to the, to where they, wait for a second. So, they would basically start to leave, and would basically go back to where the rebellion, or at least, the rebels are currently in. And so, after having dinner, they would basically fall asleep. But, let's go back to a few moments after the whole confrontation with him and Scaramouche. So, as Izuku is basically walking home with, with Lumina's arms, we see La Signora on, a nearby cliff top. Specifically in a little, I guess you could say, tree. As you say, that mean girl. She's certainly going to be a trouble. She's going to be she's certainly going to be trouble for me to get, my Rostam back. She would basically say, but I can certainly get him by using my charms. After all, Rostam still loves me, right? She would basically say, with a delusional tone. Get it? Delusional tone. Because she uses a delusion, eh? So anyway, after saying this, she would basically look back at, Izuku as she would say this. Soon, my Rostam, you'll be back to me, and you'll be begging to be my husband once again. Soon we'll make a life together, back in Shazanaya. I can't wait to see you, my Rostam. She would basically say with a, a almost seductive tone as we basically end the episode right off there. So, yeah. So, this is going to be the end of this episode. And so, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!